Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How are you guys doing today? We are back with another video, and it's actually an exciting time right now. We got training camp coming up this week. We are super excited. Me and Muhammad both are really excited about it. That means football season is back. Training camp's here before you know it. The preseason's going to be here before you know it. After that, the season's here. I mean, I think we got like, what, Muhammad, 40 something days left until the start of the season?
Oh my God. Can't wait.
Like, it's not far off. So, but first of all, Muhammad, how were you? How was your week this week, man?
And it was a pretty good week actually. Didn't really do much, just relaxing. Weather wasn't too bad. It rained a lot, but other than that, just a pretty decent week. What about you?
Yeah, it like Monday was hot, but like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it was beautiful outside. It was like 70 degrees here, and I enjoyed every second of it. And it rained a few days. Friday, it was a little warmer, but it kind of dipped off at the end of the day. And I've been dealing with a sciatic nerve problem all week, man. It's been bothering me, so I'm just trying to rest it pretty much. But anyway, uh, so if you guys would please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. But let's get into it, Mohammed. So training camp. Training camp starts this week. The rookies have already reported this past week. I think it was Tuesday this past week or Wednesday. The rookies reported to camp. The vets report on, I think it's the 22nd, which is Tuesday. And then training camp, the official, well, I shouldn't say official, but the opening practice, like the first opening practice for media, for fans to go in and watch, is not until next Friday. But the vets report, that's when stuff really starts kicking off because that's when they're going to be getting, learning the playbook out there on the field, running plays, getting out there stretching, doing all that. And the days leading up to the opening practice, they're probably going to be doing a lot of stuff, a lot of drills, a lot of kind of stuff. But let's go over some position battles that are going to be going on this year. And note, there's probably, I don't think there's a lot of starting, caliber battles going on this year. Like pretty much all the starting positions are filled, besides maybe one you could argue, Jahdae Barron with either Riley Moss or Jaquan McMillan. That might be the only starting spot open on this roster. But let's go over some of them. So, Muhammad, what are some of the battles? Most of them are going to be backups. Some of the battles you're looking forward to this training camp.
For me, definitely be the cornerback one, Eddie. That's a big one. Like we were talking about it just before we went live. Like Jahdae Byrne, who is he going after? Like what position, right? That's something that we shall see. Very exciting. I mean, it's a really good problem to have. Running back is another one. I don't know if honestly if Estime is going to make it or not. From everything that's I've been seeing, is he going to make it? Is he going to the practice squad? I'll watch that pretty closely. The pass rushers, oh my God, man, it's just so crowded back there. Like, what's going to happen with that? It's going to be a really good battle to watch. Wide receivers, we drafted one, so we shall see how that goes. I mean, that's another deep room that we have, with the wide receivers. So yeah, I would say those are the ones I'm going to be watching closely to see. And I don't think it's going to show right away. It's probably going to take a few practices to actually see someone shining.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot, in my opinion. You got like the third safety, like PJ Log, JL Skinner, Devon Key. You got those guys battling for that third, maybe fourth spot. They're probably going to carry four safeties if I had to guess right now on July 19th. They're probably going to carry four. So, and they got plenty of depth at the safety position, but it's just going to be a battle there. Um, Even if you take the cornerback position, because I'm going to go through every position here and I'm going to talk about it. Even cornerback, like if you look at it, you got PS2. Here's your starter. We think Moss is cornerback too, and then Jahdae. A lot of people are thinking that it's going to be him fighting for the nickel position against McMillan. But then even after that, you still got there's four corners right there: McMillan, Moss, Sertan, Barron. You still have Abrams Drain on this. I think Damari Mathis is still out there, and I could be wrong, but I have a feeling there's another corner I'm missing on that depth chart. So that like third, like anywhere from 2 down to like 5, that's pretty much it could be an open competition. Like the only spots on the safety and cornerback rooms I see, as surefire penciled in starters day one, of course, is going to be Hufanga, who got this offseason, Brandon Jones, who played outstanding last year, and PS2. Every other position in the cornerback and safety room, those spots are open. Like you could say, well, Eddie, what about Moss? I'm like, the only reason why I'm putting Moss in there is because I don't know if Barron's going for the cornerback 2 or the nickel corner. I don't know. One of those 2 spots, either the corner 2 or the slot, it's already been solidified, and Barron is going to take one of those other 2 positions. So, but moving up to outside linebacker, like you say yourself, Muhammad, like what the heck? You got so many pass rushers on this team, bro. Okay, you could sit here and pencil in probably that Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper are going to be your starters. You can pencil that in. Cooper, he got paid really, really, he got paid last year. Benito had an outstanding year last year, a breakout year, in my opinion, and he's looking for a contract. So you could pencil those 2 in as the starters. But after that, who do you got? You got DeAndre Tillman. You got Q Robinson, who a lot of people are talking about him being just a more of a special teams guy. But from what I heard, rookie minicamp and OTAs and mandatory minicamp, he was getting in the backfield, Q Robinson.
Yep.
So you got Dondre Tillman, Q Robinson, you got Jonah Ellis. And again, I feel like I'm missing somebody. I know I am. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you got a lot of people fighting for that, those backup, spots for the outside linebacker position. That's going to be a fun battle. Then you got inside linebacker. You can pencil in the fact that Dre Greenlaw is the number 1. He is the number 1 inside linebacker on this team. After that, I want to say Alex Singleton, Muhammad. I want to get your opinion on this. I want to say Alex Singleton, but he's coming back from an injury, an ACL that he tore last year in week 3. Yes, Greenlaw is coming back from the same injury, but that's been almost 2 years ago almost. It's at least been over a year and a half. Singleton's not even been a year yet. So you still got Singleton. You got who is it? They brought back what's his name? Strnad. You got Lavelle Bailey. You got these guys, Drew Sanders. You got these guys. Like, do you think that inside linebacker 2 position is open? And if so, who do you think takes that, Mohammed?
I honestly think it's open, Eddie, because we don't know what Singleton, like, where is he at as far as the recovery? Is he going to be himself? Is he going to take him some time to be there? I mean, if he's healthy, he'll be number 2. I'm not going to even argue that. But it's like you said, we don't know, Eddie. We don't know what kind of shape he's going to be back on. I mean, maybe Strnad. I don't know, Eddie. Like, it's because they all showed highlights, but it wasn't really consistent. But if he's not back out, bro, say Strnad be the take the number 2 spot. What do you think?
Well, I kind of agree. I think it would be Strnad, even though I really like Drew Sanders to take that spot, honestly. But I don't know what's going on with him. Like, they didn't really play him much last year. I think, when was he drafted, Mahal? Wasn't it 2023 Sanders was drafted, Drew Sanders? I think
so.
I think that first year they had him inside, then they took him out. They put him at pass rusher, and I think he got hurt. Last year, he really didn't do much. I mean, was he hurt last year? I don't remember seeing him much on the team. So this might be his year in training camp and preseason to show that, hey, if Singleton's not ready to go, or if he goes down or Greenlaw goes down, I'm here to take this position. Like, I can solidify and keep it afloat until one of these guys get back. So I don't know. Like, I want to stay Strnad, but I feel like this might be Drew Sanders' last chance this, training camp and preseason to show the team that he's like meant to be on this team and be an inside linebacker. Maybe not the first, maybe not number 1, but at least number 2. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch that battle between him, Sanders, Lavelle Bailey, Justin Strnad. It's gonna be really fun. And I'm sorry I skipped over you on this, Muhammad. I mean, we're not going to talk about the corner or safety positions because we kind of have a feeling of who that's going to be. And there's not as much depth at the safety position. I mean, corner, you can talk about, but we kind of already did. But outside linebacker, who do you think the 2 are that's going to be the ones backing up, Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito? I mean, there's talks that they might even keep 5 outside linebackers, but what are your thoughts on that position?
That's a tough one, Eddie. I mean, Jonah Alice, that's one. I have big
Yeah,
hopes. I know he got hurt towards the end. Hopefully he comes back, but you could tell that he's got something to him. You know, he's got that talent. He's got that fire to him. That fourth spot, I don't know, Eddie. I think the new kid on the block might take that one. Robinson,
you got DeAndre Tillman, you got Q Robinson,
Hugh
and
Robinson.
I know I'm missing an outside linebacker. I
It
just
would,
can't.
yeah. I think it'll be Tillman, but I think it'll be Tillman, but I have a feeling about Q Robinson just coming out the gate and just shocking everybody and kind of challenging Tillman. Yo, are you talking about John Franklin Eddie? Is that the one you forgetting?
No, because he's a D end. He's not an outside linebacker. He's a D end. I let's see, Benito Cooper, Jonah Ellis, DeAndre Tillman, Q Robinson. I mean, that might be it. I don't know. I have to go look at the depth chart and look at it, but I'm not sure. But I could have swore there was somebody else.
It's crowded now. I'm getting confused myself. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So
it's probably going to be Tillman, Eddie. But like I said, Robinson, from what I heard, I think he might surprise people. Maybe he'll challenge him for that fourth spot. We shall see. What do you think?
yeah, I'm excited, man. Like if I had to guess right now, of course, like I said, the two starters, Cooper, Benito. The third backer, I would say, is probably Jonah Ellis because I think he had 5 sacks last year as a rookie. And if I had to guess, like I like DeAndre Tillman. I think he had 5 sacks last year as well. But it comes down to special teams for me. Can DeAndre Tillman perform on special teams? Because that's like I heard, like I said, and like that was his specialty. Q Robinson was special teams. Like he's really good at it. And if the reports coming out of mandatory minicamp, OTAs, and rookie minicamp were that he was constantly in the backfield, I don't know. I think Q Robinson might take that last linebacker if they only keep 4. But that means they have to subtract from a different position in order to keep 5 outside linebackers, which I don't think Peyton's going to do. Um, but if I had to guess that they were only going to carry 4, I'm leaning right now towards Q Robinson, especially if he has an outstanding mini or training camp in preseason, and he's a special teams, specialty. I have to say it's going to go to Q Robinson. I really do. I have to say that. I like DeAndre Tillman. I think he's good. Maybe they possibly store him on the practice squad, but I don't even know if he'd make it through. He might get snatched up. So, but that's
Eddie,
my
the thing is, they're saying that the speed of his get off, they're kind of comparing it to Von Miller. I mean, we're not gonna go crazy, but they're saying like that's the thing, that's his specialty, like how fast he gets off. Kind of driving the tackles crazy. So
yeah, and that like I said, if that shines throughout preseason and training camp, you can't let that because if you try to put him on the practice squad, someone's going to snatch him.
yeah,
I guarantee you. I guarantee you that. But moving on to the defensive line portion of the defense. Okay, so we got Zach Allen, surefire penciled in #1 starter. You got DJ Jones. He's the surefire starter at nose tackle. And then you got John Franklin Myers, who's going to be the solidified starter on the other end position. After that, you got Savion Jones. You got Malcolm Roach. You got Wazirike. Who is the other one? Matt Henningsen, I think his name is. The other DN. Like, you got some depth there on the defensive line, too. Now, I just told you we got all 3 of the pencil in starters. DJ Jones, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers. Those are your 3 starters on the defensive line. But what do you think about the backup positions? Who do you think they keep? Do you think, Savion Jones, I think he was a 3rd-round pick this year. You got Matt Henningsen. You got Malcolm Roach. And who was the last one? Wazirike. Who do you think they keep? I think they keep 6 defensive linemen personally. And right now we're sitting at 7. So one of these guys is on the chopping block.
I think Savion Jones definitely in there. Michael Roach too, from what I've seen from him last year. Savion Jones might be coming for GFM's job, Eddie. I think that's why they brought him. I don't think GFM is going to get a contract. He might get a contract, but I think Savion Jones is coming for his job. But yeah, those are the 2 I think they'll keep.
Well, here's my thing. I want to ask you this, Mohammed. Like, if that is true, I kind of believe that too. But if that does happen, I should say, and say Savion Jones, he balls out in training camp, he balls out in preseason, and do you think there's any possibility that if that happens, that the Broncos trade John Franklin Myers before the start of the season?
Absolutely. If you get a team willing to do that and you feel like Jones is the guy, definitely go ahead and do it. Let's get some value because at that moment teams are desperate, right? If they lose a starter or something, they're trying to get you use that to your advantage. Same thing with the wide receivers, Eddie. I mean, it's a different topic, but if it comes to it, even McMillan, hey, halfway through the season, you feel like you have a starter to put in that spot, go ahead, trade him. We need all the picks that we need for next season, Eddie. So I'll say yes.
Well, the thing is, I would totally agree. Like if Savion Jones turns out he could be that number one starter, like he could be that starter opposite of Zach Allen and he's dominating, I say, yeah, do it. Get the draft capital, man. Like even a late round pick in George Paton's hands is like it's gold. Like think of a lot of the starters on this team. I think Nick Benio was like a 5th rounder. Jonathan Cooper was a 7th rounder. Devon Bailey was a 7th rounder. Like George Paton knows how to find diamonds in the rough late in the draft. You give him a 6th or 7th round pick, dude, he'll make gold with that. And that's the funny thing I want to touch on, because if we do trade John Franklin Myers, if we get any more than a 6th out of him, we get a 5th, a 4th, possibly a 3rd, that is a win in itself, because we only gave up a 6th rounder to the Jets to acquire JFM.
Yep.
A 6th rounder. If you can get a 5th or a 4th out of him, take it. I mean, you might be able to squeeze a little bit more out. Like, well, look what he did last year. I think what he had last year, 8 sacks from a DM position.
Yep.
Like, somebody might give you a 3rd round pick. Imagine getting an extra premium pick from a player that you traded a 6th round pick for. That would also be like its weight in gold in George Paton's hands. Like if George Paton gets a 3rd out of John Franklin Myers, who he traded a 6th for, dude, like I know a couple years ago people were saying, we need to fire Paton. He's the reason why we have this horrible Russell contract. This is the reason why we have this horrible head coach in Nathaniel Hackett. Dude, no. I mean, I was on edge a little bit. I was like, maybe. I don't know what Sean Payton's going to do, because Sean Payton's going to be the one running this team. But I was more on the side of don't fire him. Like he can find late round gems in the draft. Whenever you have to pay your big star guys like Kansas City, like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, when you got to pay your superstars top money, it's nice to have a GM that can find gems in the later rounds to build and get them on a cheap contract. That way you can pay your superstar players, but you still get really good production out of these certain positions that you put young guys in because you found really good players later in the draft. Or you can trade, and you can trade a player that might not be like a great superstar, but they're a solid player. Like they're a starter on most teams, and get premium draft capital out of them. That in a GM is its weight in gold. Like you need to keep that. And I'm so happy they didn't fire George Paton, because he's really good at doing both. The Russell Wilson trade, yeah, that was a little screwed up. That sucked, but honestly, I do blame George Paton, but I understand where he was coming from. You had a base, you had no ownership, and you had a freaking fan base that were eager, that was itching, that was pissed off, that we just wanted a franchise QB. We wanted something. You couldn't go back and do another season with who was our quarterbacks at that time? Drew Lock. Like maybe Drew Lock could have been something, but with Nathaniel Hackett, it probably would have failed. Probably even more grossly than what it did. Like the fans needed to do something at the quarterback position. This was a swing, and it didn't work out, and we're past it now. Granted, yes, we still have a $35 million dead cap hit from Russell Wilson's contract this year, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Sean Payton comes in, he rebuilds this roster in 2 years, and we got our franchise QB, and we're almost out of this Russ contract. That was what, 2, 3, 4? You got literally 3 to 4 years you had with, all this horrible stuff that you had. 4 years you had to get through. This is the 4th year. Once we get through this year, everything from that trade is gone. It's ancient history.
Yeah, we got our franchise quarterback. We got a good head coach. Good ownership.
The dead cap money is going to be gone after this year. You ain't got to worry about paying Russ anymore. So it turned out for the best, I think. But moving on to the other side of the ball, the offensive side, I'm going to start at the offensive line and work my way back to quarterback. Offensive line, of course, penciled in starters easily. Mike McGlinchey, Quinn Miners, Luke Wattenberg, Ben Powers, and Garrett Bowles. Those are your penciled starters. After that, you got Alex Forsyth. I think you still got Frank Crum. You brought back God, I'm trying to remember everybody's names on this team, man. There's
Especially
so
with the
many offensive linemen. There's so many people on this team. You got Frank Crum, like I said. You got, I think, Throckmorton still here. You got Gargiulo that you drafted last year. Who was the guy they brought back this year? It was a tackle they brought back. I can't remember who it was. They signed him to another extension. Crap, I forgot his name. I might have to look this up. But what do you think about the starting five on the offensive line, Mohammed?
I mean, like I said, those are penciled in. I don't think there's any question there. I mean, it was like a third in the NFL, according to BFF. So Forsyth, I think he's a good backup. I mean, he was actually uh, battling for that center position. I remember from last season, and then Crump will probably come after him as far as the backups. How many you think they're gonna keep though, Eddie? How many backups?
Typically, most teams keep about 8 to 9 offensive linemen. I think they're going to keep the max, which is probably about 9 offensive linemen, if I had to guess off the top of my head right now.
Can you pull up the thing, Eddie? So
I am. Let's see. You got your starters. I'm going through here real quick. Give me a second, guys. You got Frank Crum. You got let's see who else. God dang, dude, I'm going down deep on this. You got Gargiulo. You got Alex Forsyth. Let's see. McCleskey, I think it is Joseph McCleskey. He's a center. Alex Polcheski, Mike Petrie. That's the one I was thinking of. Let's see who else we got. Will Sherman, offensive tackle, and I think Throckmorton. Yeah, he's still on here. You got Xavier Truss. I mean, you got a lot of freaking offensive linemen at depth. You got Caleb Webb at guard. Like, yeah, you got probably like 7 guys that could be backups. Like I said, you got the 5 penciled in stars, but if I had to guess, I think a lot of the stuff I've been hearing on Clay Webb is that Sean Payton really likes him. He's really good. He was an undrafted free agent. I think they might keep him as a backup center / guard type. I also think they keep Alex Forsyth. After that, I think they keep, let's see what we got. I think they keep what was that one guy's name I said I forgot? It was I forgot it already again. Matt Parrott. I think they keep him, and I think they keep Alex Palcheski. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would put us, yeah. Those are my 4. Alex Forsyth. Yeah, man, I'm just having brain farts today. Matt Parrott, Alex Polcheski, Clay Webb, and Alex Forsyth. I think those are the 4 backups they keep. What's your thoughts, Mohammed?
Yeah, about the same, and I guess it might change during like the like training camp, depending on somebody like outplay other players or something. But yeah, about the same.
Yeah, and that's what I think. It's going to be 2 offensive tackles, one one guy that plays guard. That's pretty much the only position he plays, and then like I said, Clay Webb. I think he's more of a guard / center type. He can play both positions, so I think they keep him there. That way, if like a center or guard goes down, he can play either position. So, but next up, let's talk about the tight end position. So right now, I believe if goes Okay, here we go. These are all the Broncos tight ends on the roster right now going into training camp. You got Adam Troutman, Nate Atkins, Thomas Yasmin, Lucas Kroll, Evan Ingram, Caleb Lohner. I think they keep 4 tight ends. What are your thoughts, Mohammed?
Yeah, I mean, I would love for Loner to actually show up, and but he's just so raw, Eddie. So I don't think he's gonna make it. Definitely. Ingram already penciled in. He's our Joker. Kroll is another one. Um, Maybe Loner will surprise us. Who knows? Might take that third spot. And then, okay, I'm having a brain fart myself, Eddie.
You had Ingram, you had Troutman, you said Kroll, right?
Kroll. Oh, Troutman is the one I forgot. So
You also Nate Atkins, Thomas Yasmin, and Caleb Lohner. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 tight ends on the roster right now. So 2 of these
so
guys are not going to make it. I believe, in my opinion. And the ones I got making it is, of course, Evan Ingram. He's the penciled in number 1 day starter. Then I think Troutman makes it because he came from New Orleans. Peyton, I think, drafted him, and he's followed Peyton to Denver, so I don't think he's going anywhere. And he's a great blocking type tight end,
can
so he's
block.
not
Yep.
going to go anywhere. And my last 2, if I had to guess, I think Caleb Lohner does make it. I do. He's a 6 foot, I think, what is he, 6'6" or 6'7"? Granted, yes, he played basketball. He hasn't really had a whole lot of football experience. But I think Peyton, kind of like with Lucas Kroll last year, I think he keeps him on the roster and he develops him. And then the last one, so I got Lohner, Ingram, Troutman. That leaves Nate Atkins, Yasmin, and Kroll. The last position I think that's going, or the last player I think it's going to get kept out of those 3 is Nate Atkins because he can play both fullback and tight end. I think that's who I think Lucas Kroll goes onto the practice squad, and I think Yasmin gets. He could be on the practice squad too. It just depends. But I think your starting tight end in order will be Ingram, Troutman, Nate Atkins, Caleb Lohner. Those are my 4 tight ends on this roster this year. So
Yeah, I have the same. I just think Kroll will really make it. Maybe Atkins will go, but to the practice squad. But you make a good point with him playing fullback as well. So
yeah, because if you remember last year's preseason, they had Nate Atkins play fullback a little bit, in there. And speaking of fullback, I'm going to touch on this now. They might do the same thing with Michael Burton because they brought him back. Like, remember, he was a free agent this offseason. The Broncos brought him back. They gave him another 1-year deal. I don't know if it's going to be the same as last year where, whenever they had to cut their roster down to 53, they initially cut Michael Burton, but then they brought him back. They brought him back or I think they put him on the practice squad and then brought him back to the active roster. So I don't know if they're going to do the same thing this year, or if they're actually just going to keep him on the roster this year, but we'll have to wait and see. But I do believe he's on this 53-man roster by the start of week 1.
I agree. I think Sean Payton loves him a fullback, so it's a dying breed, but he believes in it.
Yeah, he definitely does. So coming up next, I'm going to go wide receiver. Now, this is the big one. We kind of already touched on this, Mohammed, but right now, the receivers that the Broncos have on their depth chart are Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Trent Sherfield, A.T. Perry, Michael Bandy, Jaquan Davis, Courtney Jackson, Jaquan Newton, and Kyrese White. So you got, what is that? 4, 8. You got 12 wide receivers. 6 of these guys are not making it. Now I can pencil like the top 3. I am 100% certain that I can pencil in on this roster for wide receivers. I think they carry 6 this year. I think last year they carried 5 some weeks. Other weeks they carried 6. It just depended on the week, I think. I think they carry 6 this year, honestly. And my 3 top ones to make it are Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and Devon Vele. Those 3 are going to make it. They're penciled in starters, in my opinion. But after that, you got, what is it? Subtract 3 from 12, that's 9. You got 9 more receivers with 3 more spots. Who do you got making this?
The 3 you mentioned, definitely Mims, Sutton, and Devon Vele, definitely. Bryant, I think he's going to make it. our new toy, right?
Yep.
Um, John Frank Amar, I think he's gonna make it. I've seen some good glimpses from him. That's what,
Who?
5?
Oh, Troy Franklin.
Yeah, Troy Flack.
Okay.
That's 5. And you said we're carrying 6, right?
I think we carry 6. I could be wrong. They could go with 5 again this year, but like I said, they fluctuated last year between 5 and 6.
Okay. Sutton, Mims, Devon Bailey, Bryant,
Troy Franklin. And
Troy
then
Frank.
the rest of the receivers you got one spot left. You got Trent Sherfield, who they brought in this offseason for special teams, most likely since we lost Smith last year. You got A.T. Perry, Michael Bandy, Jaquan Davis, Courtney Jackson, Jayron Newton, and Kyrese White. If I guess, I think I agree with you on every single one of those. You know, Troy Franklin's going to make it. He was a 4th-round pick. Pat Bryant was a 3rd-round pick. Those two are going to make it. I believe. Like, unless they either get hurt or they just drastically suck, they're going to make this roster. And I think Sherfield will be that 6th and final spot because he's a core special team player. All like A.T. Perry and onward, all the other guys I listed, I think probably about 3 of these guys make it onto the practice squad. The other 3 get outright cut. So I got Sutton, Mims, Bailey, Franklin, Pat Bryant, and Sherfield making the roster.
Sherfield, yeah.
And
I
honestly,
like from Bandy last year. I don't know what happened to him, Eddie, but he was
he got put on the practice.
Yeah.
But honestly, if they carry 5, if they only wind up carrying 5 going into the start of the season, I think that takes Trent Sherfield out of it. Because Pat Bryant, I honestly want to say he's a pencil-in starter. Like, he was a 3rd-round pick, and Sean Payton already compared him to Michael Thomas. Like, if Sean Payton winds up cutting him, if he winds up sucking, Sean Payton has to cut him or put him on the practice squad, that's going to look really bad on Sean Payton, in my opinion. Like, it wouldn't have been as bad if he selected him in the 3rd round and didn't compare him to Michael Thomas. But the fact that he did, that would look really bad on Sean Payton, in my opinion, if he doesn't make this roster. So, but those are the 6 I got. Moving on to the running back position. You got, let's see, well, this doesn't list all of them, but I'm going to list all of the running backs I know that the Broncos have here. You got RJ Harvey, rookie. You got J.K. Dobbins, who you brought in. You got Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, Blake Watson, and Tyler Bidet. They're still out there too. What are your thoughts? How many running backs you think they keep, Muhammad, and who do you think they keep?
Thinking 4 or 5, maybe 4, Eddie. Dobbins for sure. RJ Harvey, definitely, right? McLaughlin, yes. Estime, I would love for him to stay. I don't know about Estime, right? And then I'll go with Blake Watson if we're going 5.
I think they're only going to carry 3, especially if they carry a fullback into the. If they're carrying 4 tight ends plus a fullback,
yeah,
I think they only carry 3 tight end or 3 running backs. And RB1 and RB2, J.K. Dobbins, Harvey, they're a lock. So that leaves 1 position, and that position is going to be a battle between Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, Blake Watson, and Tyler Bidet. And at first, it was hard for me to pick this because, like, if Jaleel or Audric Estime wasn't selected by Sean Payton, kind of like, let's just say, I'm trying to think, say like Philip Lindsay was still on this roster, right? Wasn't Sean Payton's guy. I don't think Philip Lindsay makes this roster this year. With the additions with the current additions that the Broncos have made with J.K. Dobbins, RJ Harvey, and Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, I think Philip Lindsay would be the odd man out between Jaleel and Audric, because I think Sean likes to keep his guys that he handpicked himself that fit his scheme. So with Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin both being picked up, like Jaleel was an unrestricted free agent. Audric Estime, what was he, a 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick last year? I can't remember. But he was a late-round pick. Audric Estime was, and Jaleel McLaughlin was an undrafted free agent. If I had to guess, gun to my head, today, July 19th, before the start of training camp, if I had to guess who takes that third running back position, Jaleel McLaughlin. And I think Audric Estime goes on the practice squad.
I agree with you, Eddie. Unless Estimate does some crazy and just, you know,
Yeah. Unless he balls out in training camp and he balls out
exactly.
in preseason and doesn't fumble, because that was his issue last year was fumbles. I think his very first carry, if I remember, I could be wrong. I have to look it up. But I believe his very first carry, Audric Estime's, was a fumble. So
I think that's just kind of hard to fix for some reason, Eddie, from what I've seen. You know, if you have this issue coming in, it's just hard. I don't know what it is, but it's just hard to get that out of your system somehow, you know.
yeah, maybe I don't know, but all I know is that I just feel like, yeah, I feel like Jaleel's going to make it. Jaleel, he's faster, he's more explosive, he doesn't put the ball on the ground as much. I feel like he would be that third running back that Sean Payton, because I mean, and you could be right, Muhammad. I think there's going to be three, but you could be right. They could carry four running backs because we know how Sean likes running back by committee. And if they do open up a fourth running back spot on this roster, then Audric Estime, honestly, in my opinion, it would be between him and Tyler Bidet. And honestly, I don't even know if I would have Audric Estime win that. I don't know. I'd have to see what they do in camp and preseason.
And I don't get it, Eddie, with his like the way he's built, his big muscles. Come on, man, you can't hold on to the ball.
Yeah, he's the kind of back you want to have in like a third and short or fourth and short situation, where you can give him the ball, turn around, hand him the ball, and he can plow through all defensive linemen to get that first down. He's just got to be able to secure the ball. If he can secure it, then he's going to be a weapon.
Yep. I agree.
But last but not least, quarterback. I don't know, man. I don't think Bo Nix is going to make this roster. I don't feel it, but no. Bo Nix is the number one surefire star. He's penciled. You can ink that. 110%. Ink it. Bo Nix is the starter. After that, Sean Payton only carried two quarterbacks on the active roster last year. Because if you remember, Zach Allen was on the practice squad. He was the emergency third quarterback. Like if Stidham and Bo Nix both went down, at least you had Zach Wilson on the practice squad. This year, I'm not so sure. Like Bo Nix started one, but in your opinion, Muhammad, do you think Stidham takes the backup job or does Sam Ehlinger take it? What's your opinion?
I think Stidham. I mean, he's been with Sean Payton since he got there. He's got the experience, pretty decent. I think, knock on wood, something happened with Bo Nix. He can come in, he can run. He can basically run things until Bo Nix comes back. I think Sean Payton trusts him. Otherwise, he would have kept Zach Allen. They wouldn't have to pay him. So I think he's guaranteed that spot.
I do too, unless Ehlinger comes in and he just balls. I mean, if he's so much better than Stidham that you're like, I can't justify keeping Stidham on this roster, even though he's been in my system for the past, like you said, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I think Ehlinger or Sam Ehlinger, I can't say his name right, Ehlinger makes this roster. I think he's going to be stashed on the practice squad and just be that emergency third string quarterback. Like, God forbid something happens to Bo Nix. God forbid something happens to Jarrett Stidham. They both go down. You got Ehlinger right there on the practice squad that you can elevate to play. So, and I wouldn't be worried about. I'd be more worried trying to. I don't know if is it possible. I'd be more worried if you try to put Stidham on the practice squad. I think someone might snatch him up. To be their backup. You know what I mean? I think someone would snatch him up. Ehlinger, you have a little bit more wiggle room. I don't think anybody's going to be out there like, oh, yeah, let's go get Sam. I think you'd be safer trying to pass him onto the practice squad. So, but now that we went through the entire roster, we're at 30. Oh, crap. We're almost at 40 minutes. Holy crap. It's really gone by that fast. But the next topic I want to talk about is, Muhammad, I want to get your opinions and your thoughts on finally both of our top drafted rookies from this year have finally signed their deal. Jahdae Barron signed it, I think, early last week or maybe a little bit before that. It was after we did our last show. I know that. And then a couple days, like 3-4 days later, RJ Harvey, I think it was Thursday, he finally signed his deal. What were your thoughts on the rookie signing their deals, and what do you think of the contracts in general?
I mean, it was like kind of nerve wracking, to be honest with you. I know when we first started talking about this topic, it was like it wasn't, something that I was kind of worried about because, I thought maybe it's just some kinks that they had to work out on the contract and stuff. But it started lingering, and I started getting worried. I'm like, what's going on? I'm glad Byrne actually signed his thing first. I was kind of getting worried about RJ Harvey, but I'm glad he signed his too. I think it was all about the guaranteed amount. It wasn't really about the contract itself. When what he got 4 year, 18.7 million, about 9.8 guaranteed, and then Harvey got 4 years, 7.36 million, 1.9 signing bonus, and that was a big thing for RJ Harvey's the signing bonus. I'm glad they're signed. I'm glad it's not something we gotta think about or talk about anymore. It's behind us. But Eddie, this kind of takes us to the way the NFL is moving. I think it's gonna be like eventually like the NBA, with the guaranteed contracts and stuff. So it's changing, definitely changing. But I'm happy they're all signed. We don't have to think about it anymore, and we can move on. What do you think?
Um, yeah, whenever I first saw Barron's contract, I was like, okay, it's a 4 year, $18.7 million contract, includes 9.8 million in signing bonuses. I was like, no one was really worried about Barron, like no one was worried about it. They're like, I think it was just some, what was it? I think, I don't want to say the language in the contract. I think it was just they were trying to hammer out the fine tooth details, maybe like kind of with RJ Harvey. I think it was more of, the guarantees or the signing bonus. Maybe it was, I couldn't remember. No one was worried um, that he wasn't going to sign. It was just, when's it going to get done? Why is it taking so long? Like a lot of people were starting to freak out and thought this was more of like a Shamar Stewart thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. And I wasn't worried about that because even whenever that rumor first came out, like even during mandatory mini camp, Mike List came out and said, no, it's nothing like the Shamar Stewart situation. It's completely different. Um, so it wasn't too bad. I wasn't too worried about it. And that was during mini camp. So I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried about it. Um, but then I think it was, if I remember right, I believe it was Tuesday. Like, of course, you knew the top two second round picks. I think it was the Houston Texans second round pick and the Cleveland Browns second round pick. They both signed contracts fully guaranteed. And they were the only two rookies from the second round that signed their contracts. Every other rookie second rounder did not sign it. The first domino fell after that. I think it was Tuesday. The 49ers signed their D tackle. I forgot what his name was, to his deal. And I can't remember, but I think it was like $10 million contract for a year, $10 million contract. And he got like $9 million guaranteed. And if you remember, Muhammad, I posted up, I think I even sent you this. I was like, okay, yeah. So this is about what the contracts are. That was pick, I think he was like pick 42 or something of the second round. RJ Harvey was the 60th pick, and he's a running back. Like, not trying to devalue the situation, but D tackle, in my opinion, is more valuable than a running back, because you need someone to, crash the middle of the offensive line. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, Harvey's going to sign in the next 48 hours, and he's not getting a fully guaranteed deal. And based on what the contract was Harvey's 4 year contract is worth $7.36 million. That includes, I think, almost $2 million in a signing bonus.
Hmm.
I think it was like, was it $5 or $6 million? Like, I can't remember how much was guaranteed. Was it like $5 million? I think was guaranteed, fully guaranteed. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know that he didn't get a fully guaranteed contract. I was like, if the 42nd overall pick, a D tackle, more valuable position, higher draft pick, didn't get a fully guaranteed contract, Harvey, a running back, is not going to get a fully guaranteed contract. So, but I'm happy they both signed. Now they can officially report to camp, and they can start working together. we needed Harvey. Like honestly, I was more worried. Like I was more worried about Harvey because of the second round thing going on. But honestly, I felt like we needed Harvey more than we needed Barron. Like we could have survived with Jaquan. We could survive with with Jaquan, Riley Moss, and PS2. But like on the offensive side, like we had no run game last year.
Yep.
You basically have the same running room outside of Harvey and Dobbins. And if Harvey didn't sign, you'd be going into the season with just Dobbins as your new guy, your premier running back, your new running back. And if he gets hurt or needs a break, then you're back to what you had last year. So Harvey to me was more of a detriment to this team, just this team in general, than Barron was. Like you could get by without Barron. Like the Barron pick to me, it was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? It was more of a sexy pick. It was more of a ooh, shiny toy, let's get it. It's not something you really needed. I mean, it helps. Don't get me wrong. It's not a position that was desirable. It wasn't a position that was in desperate need of needing. Running back, on the other hand, that was a desperate position that we needed. That's why the Harvey contract scared me more. I'm like, we need RJ Harvey. We need him. Yes, I understand we have Dobbins, but at least cornerback, you had like the three really good corners, and you still had, what was his name? What was his name? God dang it, I forgot his name. The guy we drafted out of Mizzou last year, Muhammad. What was it? Chris Abrams-Drain.
Oh, Drain, yeah.
We had him, and he played solid last year when he needed to. So I'm just happy Harvey got done, and now we don't have to worry about it. All the players are signed. Now I can sit back and watch the Bengals destroy their team because Hendrickson's still not signed. He's still pissed and wants to be traded. Their first round pick still not signed. Like I feel comfortable and happy knowing that we're not in a hell like that. Like don't be wrong, the Bengals have their franchise QB, which is great. He's one of the best QBs in the league. But come on, man. Seriously, does anybody out there really think the Bengals are going to do anything if they don't sign Stewart or Hendrickson and do something with that defense? Does anybody think they're going to win this year? I mean, come on.
Wait for us to play him, Eddie.
Me too. And I love Joe Burrow. He's fun to watch. But Joe Burrow and that offense are not going to be able to outscore everybody all year. They're not even going to be able to outscore half the teams they play this year. That defense without those two guys, or at least one of them, probably more likely if it's not Hendrickson, because Stewart's still a rookie. He's still going to be learning. The Bengals offense is going to have to score at least 35 points a game to win any game. Like, oh my God, dude. Like, the Bengals defense is going to be bad. So much so you're going to need like an ungodly freaking season from Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins. You're going to need a godly season from all three of those guys. And their offensive line's not that good either. Their offensive line's not that great either. So
I feel bad for Joe Burrow, Eddie. They're wasting his talent, man.
and it sucks, man. I love watching Joe Burrow. No offensive line, no defense. Like, if I was Joe Burrow, man, I'd be begging for a trade out of Cincinnati. Like, send me somewhere where they're actually going to treat me good and build around me and build a team to where I can compete. So, oh my God, dude, it's just so freaking bad. I'm just glad we're not them. Nope. And we're actually going to be competitive this year. We're going to be more competitive than the Bengals, in my opinion. But next up on the list I want to talk about is Von Miller. A lot of people were hoping he'd come back to Denver, but we got so many pass rushers coming out of our wazoo. We can't afford to have another one. But Von Miller signs with the Washington Commanders, who, by the way, we play this year in Washington. What are your thoughts on this, Mohammed?
I was actually kind of excited, Eddie. I knew he was going to get signed. Just didn't think the Commanders would sign him. I'm excited. I'm happy for him that he got an opportunity. This kind of signals to me that the Commanders believe that they're going to the Super Bowl, or there's like a high, possibility for them to go. He's got 2 rings. He's got all the experience on that level. So that's what it looks like to me. I'm, as you know, I'm planning to go to that game anyway. So it'll be good to see Von Miller even from a distance. So yeah, man, I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him too. Even though we play I love Von Miller. He's a Bronco for life, but I will be rooting against him. I think it was at week 8 when we play the Commanders, of course, I'm going to be rooting against him. I mean, just like last year, we played him last year, or I think the last 2 years we played the Bills in we played them in the playoffs last year in Buffalo. Von Miller wasn't so much. He really wasn't like a game wrecker. He's old. I think he's like 36 now.
Yeah.
Like he really wasn't a game wrecker last year in that game in the playoffs. And the year before we played the Bills in Buffalo. Remember with Russell Wilson, we beat them. Von Miller was in that game too. He really wasn't like he didn't pop out at the screen. He really didn't cause so much havoc on our offense. I mean, not trying to disrespect the guy. He's a Broncos legend, Broncos Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer in general. But he's not the same guy as he was 10 years ago when we won that Super Bowl with him. He's not. And I love Vaughn, and I hope to God whenever he goes to retire, they sign him to a one-day deal so he can retire a Bronco.
Definitely.
I'm sure they're going to do that. I'm positive they will. There's no way they're not going to. So, but I wish him all the best of luck in Washington, except for week 8 when we play them. I hope we kick their ass. So, sorry, Vaughn. But we got a couple of comments here from Biggie Bronco. He's like, how are you guys doing today? Doing great. Just enjoying the day and doing what we love to do, making this pod, man, for all you guys. It's a lot of fun.
What's up, Big E?
And we got another one from Big E here. He's like, some of Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Lamar Chase. You mean Jamar Chase? Okay, I got you. Jamar Chase's fault that they don't have anything on defense. It kind of is, but they like if they wanted to, they could pay Hendrickson. They just gotta George Payton can figure this out. I forgot the GM of the Chiefs. I forgot what his name is. Howie Roseman. These GMs would be able to figure out a way to pay Trey Hendrickson. Whether if it's to give him a bunch of money up front or a bunch of money in the back or a signing bonus, whatever, they would figure out how to get it done. And even if you want to say, oh, well, they can't figure it out. They ain't got the money for him. They got a first round pick they drafted this year to replace Hendrickson and Stewart that they drafted 17th overall, but they're being stingy, poor, broke, money grip tight. They're being cheapskates, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. And, putting certain language into this guy's contract that they never put into a contract before. Like, if they take that language out, guess what? They got a freaking pass rusher they can probably rely on. So, even if they didn't want to pay Trey Hendrickson, they could pay the rookie, just take the language out, and he'll sign. It's not that hard. Like, the Bengals front office is a joke. Their ownership is a joke. Like, man, I feel bad. And, I don't think Joe Burrow is ever going to leave Cincinnati because that's his hometown. I think he's right outside of Cincinnati. He grew up right outside of Cincinnati. So that's probably his favorite team. He probably doesn't want to leave, but at some point it's dude, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to leave. That franchise is too freaking cheap to actually spend money where they need to. And, or they suck at it. They can't figure it out. Other teams can, but they can't just even win a Super Bowl. So I don't know. Like I said, I still feel bad for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow. Yes, I agree. Some of it is a little bit their fault, but you know what? Joe Burrow's asking for the money. The one signing that if I was the Bengals, I would be like, sorry, Joe, we're not doing this, was T. Higgins. You know what? We gave you your money, Joe. We'll give money. We'll keep Jamar Chase. We'll pay him a big fat contract. But, you're a Hall of Fame quarterback too, or you're supposedly a Hall of Fame quarterback, a great quarterback in the league. You should be able to elevate a wide receiver too. We shouldn't have to pay T. Higgins. He's basically like a high end 2, low end 1. T. Higgins, and you're paying him like he's a true, he's a Jamar Chase. He's not. So, yeah, I can blame Joe Burrow for that. But I can also blame the ownership. You need to stand up like, Joe, we gave you your money. We gave Jamar Chase his money. If you want us to build the offensive line and have a defense, we can't pay T. Higgins all this money. Sorry. It's your team. You already signed Joe Burrow. He's on his contract. Yeah, he might be a little unhappy, but in the long run, he's going to thank you for having a defense and an offensive line to protect him. He might be a little upset that T. Higgins walks, but it's your team. You already paid him. He can't leave. He might be a little disgruntled, but he'll be happy if he wins a Super Bowl. I guarantee you that. Yeah. So, but they have to learn on that kind of stuff. I don't know what to say. I feel bad for Joe Burrow, but the Bengals front office ownership should have made a stand. It's their freaking team. This ain't Joe Burrow's team.
Nope.
Just it's no franchise quarterback team. Yeah, they're the face of the franchise, but you're not the ones that physically own the team that have to make these decisions. So, yeah, if I was the Bengals, I'd be like, sorry, nope, on T. Higgins, we're gonna go a different route. We're gonna save our money to pay Hendrickson or whoever.
I
But
mean, you can't do that, Eddie. No team ever does that. Like you got all your money tied up on the offense. You paid both wide receivers. I mean, you keep one, you let the other one walk, and you use that money somewhere else. You know, Henderson or something. I mean, come on, that's crazy, man.
yeah, it's crazy. But moving on to our next subject, which we kind of already touched on this. I already said the vets report on Tuesday. The first open practice is July 25th, which is Friday. But another thing there's a couple other things I want to talk about. Not really Broncos related, but they are football related. Well, one's kind of Broncos related ish. It kind of maybe not involves, but it passes on to the Broncos. It kind of affects the Broncos throughout the season, and that is a couple of things. The Chargers still show to me that they're a dumpster franchise like they've always been. Like, instead of okay, they drafted Ladd McConkey last year. He's a great receiver. I'll give him that. Like, Ladd McConkey's a solid wide receiver. You know, I wouldn't say he's a wide receiver one, but he's a decent wide. He's like a little Julian Edelman, a little reliable guy you can rely on. But they didn't draft a tight end. They didn't draft another wide receiver, a true wide receiver one in this year's draft. But we know why, because Jim Harbaugh, or John, loves to run the ball. So what did he do? They brought in Najee Harris. They drafted Omarion Hampton with the 22nd overall pick, I believe it was. But in free agency, they brought back Mike Williams. I think he's like 33, 34 years old. They brought him back, I think, for a 1-year deal. And, lo and behold, this past week, guess what? He retires. What are your initial thoughts on this, Mohammed? Because I laughed whenever I first saw it.
I mean, I'm kind of torn on this, Eddie, on him and on Najee Harris. You know, I mean, for Mike Williams, I mean, he was a decent wide receiver. I think he was like 30 years old, only 8 years on the NFL. It was kind of shocking, but it's an undisclosed injury. I didn't think that was something that would make him retire, but I mean, you know, I wish him the best, but he was a favorite target for Justin Herbert when he was actually playing with the Chargers. So I'm actually glad, because that makes them, you know, less. You're losing a wide receiver, so that works for me, honestly. But yeah.
Well, that's my thing. It's like, he's a 34-year-old receiver, or 33. I don't know his exact age, but I'm sure he's in his 30s. I know that.
He's 30.
You brought him back for a 1-year deal. Like, why didn't you go after, like, even in the second round, you could have went after a tight end, another weapon for Justin Herbert. You could have went after, like, I think, who was it? Was it the guy from Mizzou? That wide receiver from Mizzou that got drafted this year. I forgot what his name was, but he didn't go until the second round.
And he could have Luther?
Burton, yeah, he went in the second round. Like, you could have drafted him. He was a high prospect. He was in a lot of people's mock drafts I saw. He was a first round pick.
Late first round.
Like, you could have took him in the second round and probably could have got your wide receiver one right there and gave Justin Herbert another weapon to throw the ball to, and still got Omarion Hampton. But it's like, they do that, and it's like, dude, now they literally have fucking Ladd McConkey. They have no tight end one, and behind Ladd McConkey, who's not really a number one receiver, they don't have anybody. Quentin Johnston, like, dude, the guy's a bum. I'm sorry to say, he drops everything. And that brings me on to my next point. And, you know, I wish Mike Williams a safe, happy retirement. I hope he has a great life. You know, I don't hate the guy. I'm just laughing because of the Chargers making such dumb decisions. I thought with Jim Harbaugh there, they would have made smarter decisions, but I guess not. But then that goes on to the next thing, which is Najee Harris, the guy they brought in through free agency from the Steelers. Like, I don't know what Jim Harbaugh saw in him. I mean, he was with the Steelers for years. And what's the Steelers like? Defensive-minded head coaches in general, what do they like to do? Play defense, run the ball. He wouldn't even work in Pittsburgh. Now, that's not to say he won't work in Los Angeles, but he gets hurt. 4th of July incident, fireworks, something went off in his eye. I don't know. I think they said something about him having surgery. He's probably going to miss some training camp, of course. probably some preseason, and I heard one outlet say he might even miss a couple games in the regular season.
Yep.
Now you're down to a rookie in Omarion Hampton to be your sole carrying back. Like, dude, like the Chargers are just falling apart, it seems like. What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. I mean, what I read was it's his agent is saying it's not serious, right? He should be okay, but he might not be able to play during a training camp. But some other sources are saying no, it's far than that. So maybe, like you said, he's gonna miss a couple of games. But hey, it's weakening the Chargers, so I like that. I wish him the best. I mean, I hope he's okay. But hey, works for me.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like when the Chargers did sweep us last year, but they swept us. It wasn't because of the passing game. It was because of their run game. And that was J.K. Dobbins. I mean, now their run game is a little bit better, but also at the same time, last year, the Broncos' run defense still wasn't that great. Like, you got Greenlaw now. You'll have Singleton back, who are both great at stopping the run. You got Hufanga, who's the safety that can come down the box and help stop the run. You got these.
We got the
pieces
running back ready.
Huh?
Oh, we have the running back. They had J.K. Dobbins. Didn't want to sign him again. We got him.
Yeah, he could tell us how. He could also give that information on how the offense of the Chargers works.
Yep.
He can give that to Vance Joseph. Hey, this is what they like to do. In this situation, they're going to do that.
Yep.
So that could really help us. And at the same time, we brought in more defensive players to help with the run game. Hufanga, Greenlaw, you bring in Singleton back. Like, you got pieces now to help stop the run. So good luck to that is all I can say. But I hope a speed and fast recovery for Najee Harris. I hope it's not too bad. Hope he's back soon because I don't want to hear any excuses from Charger fans when we kick the shit, or all three Charger fans when we kick their ass this year. So, but moving on next, Mohammed. Couple more things I wanted to get into. We're over an hour already, by the way. I didn't think we'd make it this far, honestly. Next up is TJ Watt agreed to a 3-year contract extension worth $123 million, $41 million a year. Mohammed, what was your initial reaction to this?
It's like, holy cow. I mean, this is resetting the market, right? I mean, it's a $41 million a year average. I think 108 million is guaranteed. Resetting the market, definitely deserve it. I just think it's a short deal. I was kind of surprised about that. It's only 3 years. But yeah, that definitely resets the market. I know Micah Parsons is going to be looking to get paid. I know we're going to be talking about that in a little bit, but yeah, that's a huge contract for sure.
Yeah, well, the reason why it was a 3-year contract is he's 30 now. So by the time this contract's up, he'll be 33. And
he's age.
I think at that time they're going to be like, you know what, we're going to move on, TJ. Thank you. They might keep him on the roster if he takes a discount or if he decides to stay in the NFL and doesn't retire. But I mean, this does reset the market because the guy that signed the biggest contract, pass rusher wise, was Myles Garrett earlier this offseason at $40 million a year. Mm-hmm. This triumphs that by $1 million per year. Now, this is what makes me laugh. Oh my God. This could be big for the Broncos too, in the sense that which division do we face this year? We face the NFC East, the Commanders, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. I don't think Michael Parsons is going to play without a new deal. And that defense is already horrible at stopping the run. They're not a very good defense with Michael Parsons, let alone without him. Michael Parsons is going to want to reset the market again. He's going to want more than $41 million a year now. Now, will it happen? I think it will. I think it's going to happen right before. Like last year, they paid Dak right before the season started. Like I think it was like a day before the season started, they paid Dak Prescott. But it's like now they're going to have to reset the market again, the Cowboys, because they waited so long. Like even if Michael Parsons is there ready, he's like if they don't get this deal done to the start of the season, he's going to miss all the training camp, all the preseason. And I don't know what week. I think we play them in week 9 or 10. We play the Cowboys. I can't remember off the top of my head. But even if Michael Parsons is there, I mean, maybe by that time he'll be fine. But what happens if they don't sign him? What happens if they don't want to give him like it's going to at least be at the very minimum 42
42.
million a year
Yeah.
that
North
he's
of
going to
40.
want? Because in Micah Parsons' mind, he's better and he's younger than TJ Watt.
And I think he's better, Eddie.
Maybe what TJ Watt's 30, Micah Parsons is only 25. He's 5 years younger.
Exactly.
He's going to want to reset the market. I guarantee you that. Man, I am so glad I'm not a Cowboy. Whenever people tell me they're a Cowboys fan, all I say is sorry. That I said, I'm like, I'm sorry you're a Cowboys fan. They're like, why? I'm like, because your owner sucks. He's the reason why you guys are not winning Super Bowls. He's the reason why you guys are always having to reset the markets with quarterbacks, running backs, pass rushers, offensive linemen, because he waits until the last damn minute after everybody else signs their contracts and people reset the market. He waits until after all those people get it done and then pays his guys. And he's always paying money. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have the money and Micah Parsons is worth every penny, I'm sure. Like he's the one bright shining spot. But let's put it to you this way. He paid Ezekiel Elliott top market money. He paid him as the highest running back ever whenever he gave Zeke that first contract. Because Zeke's like, I'm not playing until I get a new contract. Well, he was in Cabo and they gave him a new deal. What was it, like $96 million over like 3 or 4 years or some shit? Like it was crazy.
And I think he played a year or two after that. And
Yeah,
then
he played
went
like a year, maybe 2 after that, and then he went to New England, I think.
Yep.
And same with Dak Prescott. You're paying an average quarterback. Oh my God, dude. I can't even. I would hate to be a fucking Cowboys fan. You pay mediocre players top of the line money. Now, I can't, like, I guess you can't really say much as a Broncos fan. We paid Russ like top of the quarterback money. But to be fair, Russell Wilson's actually won a Super Bowl. He was a 9-time Pro Bowler. We thought we were getting that Russ. That's the reason why we paid him all that money. You've had Dak on your team for 8 years at that point last year. You had him on your team for 8 years. Yes, he's a great regular season quarterback. But what happens when he gets in the playoffs? You made him the highest paid player in NFL history, the highest paid quarterback at $60 freaking million a year. Jerry Jones is an idiot. They're never going to win the Super Bowl as long as that guy's alive. They're not.
Eddie, he's an idiot with a lot of money. He's got a lot of money.
You're paying an average quarterback, maybe a slightly above average quarterback, like he's Patrick fucking Mahomes. You're paying him better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, Jesus Christ, man, I don't even know. It just, what are your thoughts on that, Mohammed? I need to get your reaction on this.
I mean, it's exactly the opposite of the Broncos, Eddie. We try to pay our players early so you don't have to reset the market or pay all that money. That tells you, our front office, and the kind of deals that they make because they know what's going on. But when you wait, this is what happened. You're gonna have to pay top dollar now, and he's not gonna play. He's gonna be at least north of 42 million.
Yep.
5-6 years. I don't know, 5 years contract, maybe something like that. Yeah, you're gonna have
If
to.
I was Parsons, I would ask for a 4-year contract worth $42 million a year at least, because then at least if once that contract's up, he's 25. You sign that 4-year contract, you get that contract for 4 years. What is that? 25, 6, 7, 8. So by the time he's 28, 29, he's still under 30. He could get another big contract extension.
Yeah.
Kind of like a TJ Watt did. So
Yeah.
I would be like, yeah, I'll take a $42 million a year, 4-year contract. I don't know what that would average out to. I think it's like what? What would that, like maybe $160 million over 4 years or something like that? So
Yeah.
that's what I would do if I was Micah Parsons. That way, before you hit 30, you get another big contract before you don't get another one after that. That's what I would do if I was him. But last thing up, and this kind of swings into that, contract speaking wise, is Patrick Surtain. Holy crap, was this beautiful. The Broncos paid Patrick Surtain last year, right before the season started. I think they paid during training camp, if I remember right. They paid Surtain, and I think it was like a $96 million deal over 4 years. Let's see. I think average per year is $24 million a year.
Yep.
Over 4 years, it's $96 million. At the time, I think he was the highest paid corner in history. But here we are a year later, and Patrick Surtain is now the fifth highest corner. He's the best corner in the league. There's no argument. PFF, NFL, ESPN, they all rank Patrick Surtain as the best corner in the league today. He is now the fifth highest paid corner because the Broncos got his deal done early before the market exploded. And now they got Surtain on a $24 million a year contract. Right now, these are the guys ahead of him. And they're yearly, how much they cost yearly. Next up is Jalen Ramsey at $24,100,000 a year. Next up is J.C. Horn from the Panthers, $25 million a year. Derek Stingley Jr. from the Texans, $30 million a year. And the one that's getting paid the most money a year, he just recently got paid. Sauce Gardner is at $30,100,000 a year. He's making from the top, the highest paid corner in the league. Patrick Surtain is making, what is it, $6 million less. And he's the best cornerback in the league. This is what good front offices. This is what good teams do. They pay their players early before the market explodes. And then like a year, in our opinion, a year later, it looks like a deal for us. He's the fifth highest corner in the league. And he's only 24.
Broncos look like geniuses today, Eddie. We look like geniuses. I said we look like geniuses. I mean, come on.
And this is like, dude, oh my God. This just makes the Cowboys thing even worse. Like, Jerry, you've been doing the same shit for years. Try something different. Maybe you'll have some extra cash. You can keep your guys around if you pay them early. You ain't gonna have to worry about that crap.
The Cowboys are not going to even do it now after this whole J.J. Watt thing. I mean, T.J. Watt. But they're going to wait. Watch. He's not going to go to – he's not going to report training camp. He's going to wait. They're going to wait all this time until the beginning of the season to sign his contract. Why? You're going to pay him anyway. You might as well go ahead and do it. What you waiting for?
Oh, my God. I can't, dude. Like, we got the defensive player of the year, the reigning defensive player of the year, the best corner in the league at $24 million a year. And the highest paid corner right now, who's not even close to Surtain's level, is Sauce Gardner. And he's making $6 million more a year. Oh, my. And here's the thing. I can also point out, let me get it back up here on my phone. This is the total value of these contracts in front of Surtain, the corners contracts. Jalen Ramsey, $72,300,000. J.C. Horn, $100 million. Derek Stingley, I think his contract's a little bit longer because his contract's a little bit less than ours. It's $6 million less. He's at $90 million a year. $90 million total value. But guess how much Sauce Gardner's is? Average, like his total value of his contract. Guess how much it is?
How much?
$120,400,000. And he's not even the best freaking corner in the NFL. Oh,
that's
my God. What is that doing?
Yeah. But, Eddie, you got to imagine PS2 is really not happy about that. No, he's be like, man, I could have made more money.
No, well, that's probably true. But at the same time, he's got to realize that whenever you set the market, you as a player, if you're one of the best players in the league, if not the best player at your position, let's just say, and you get a record-breaking contract, the highest paid contract for that position ever, you're happy at that point.
Yep.
But you've got to know in the back of your mind that somebody, even if they don't deserve it, is going to surpass what you make.
It's just how the market is. Yeah. That's how the market is. You're right.
Even if you know that you're 10 times better than Sauce Gardner, you're 10 times better than Stingley, Horn, and Ramsey, you know you're better than these guys. And not just better, but leaps and bounds better. You know if you sign your contract early that these guys are probably going to, go above you in contract, price. It's going to happen. So, and honestly, I don't think Surtain is too upset about it because at least like if you look at all the teams, let me go back through this real quick. Here's the thing. Look at all the teams that these top paid corners are higher than Surtain, the teams that they're on. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's on the Steelers now, which you can say, well, they make the playoffs every year, but then what? Yeah, they make the playoffs every year, and they lose in the first round. You really want to be part of a team like that? Maybe Jalen Ramsey does because he's already got a Super Bowl ring with the Rams. But it's like, you're not going to win the Super Bowl there. J.C. Horn, Panthers. Do I have to say more? You're not winning the Super Bowl with the fucking Panthers. You're not going to. You'll be lucky to make the playoffs.
That's messed up.
Eric Stingley Jr. is the only one I can honestly say that might have a chance to, I wouldn't say win a Super Bowl, but make the playoffs.
Get close, yeah.
With the Texans. Like, that's the only team. The Jets, let's be real. Woody Johnson is just a younger version of fucking Jerry Jones. He's too much meddling on the team. Yeah. That team is not going to win shit. Excuse my language, but think about all those. There's only one ahead of Surtain that has a chance to make the playoffs like Surtain does. Like right now, gun to your head, like seriously, gun to your head. And I mean, I shouldn't be asking you this, Muhammad, because we're both Bronco fans. I need someone's unbiased opinion. Gun to your head right now, guys. If you had to pick between the Texans or the Broncos, who would win a Super Bowl first? Who are you picking? Sean Payton and Bo Nix or DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud? Which, by the way, you can sit there and say, well, yeah, Sean Payton's better than, DeMeco Ryans. Bo Nix, we don't know yet. Let's see what he does in his year two compared to CJ Stroud. But just think about the rosters and the ownership. The ownership here in Broncos country is a lot better than Houston. Think about the roster. We actually have a top 2 offensive line. The Texans traded away their best offensive lineman this year.
I mean, and we have a better talent we have better talent. I mean, it's not even about being biased. You look at the team, you look at the roster. Our roster is definitely better. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, I would listen if someone wanted to say, well, Texans defense is, about even with the Broncos defense. I might listen to that conversation. I might. Because I like Will Anderson. I think he's a dominant pass rusher. I mean, they do have some solid players on that defense. But to say that the Texans defense is better, I'm talking about hearing about the conversation that they're even. I would maybe listen to that conversation. Listen to a conversation that the Texans defense is better than the Broncos. You can miss me with that crap. Yeah. The Broncos defense is better. Like the Broncos defense was top 3 last year. I don't even know where the Texans ranked. I think they were in the top 10, but they weren't close to where the Broncos were. Broncos have a better offensive line. Weapons, I mean, you can maybe say they're even. I don't know. And quarterback, if you want to say CJ Stroud's better, okay. But, Bo Nix was just as good as CJ Stroud, if not better, in his rookie year. And let's see what Bo Nix does in year 2. Coach, like really? Nobody and their mama is going to pick DeMeco Ryans over Sean Payton, especially now, given what we've seen Sean Payton do with this team. Like, and here's the thing, Muhammad. The thing that pissed me off is there were reports right around the time we hired Sean Payton. That whole year with the the coach search with the Broncos, the Texans, all the teams that were looking for coaches that year. If this is true, I want to smack the Walton Penner group to an extent. Because they said that the head candidate in the Broncos, war room in the ownership group was they wanted DeMeco Ryans. That was their number 1 choice. Why? I'm not sitting here saying DeMeco Ryans is a bad head coach, but did he take a team like the Saints and rebuild them?
Nope.
A team that were called the Aints that people wore paper bags over their heads to show up to games to? No, he didn't. Did he take a freaking team with a quarterback that was washed, making $230 million? What was it? Like $50 million a year at the time. Get rid of him and draft a rookie and actually rebuild this team? No. Anybody that says they would take DeMeco Ryans over Sean Payton is high.
He was just a plan B in case the Saints wouldn't trade, Sean Payton for the Broncos. I think that's what it was.
I'm just saying, the Broncos have a better ownership. They have a better coach. Quarterback, you could say even. You can say weapons are even. That's about the only things the Texans are even remotely close to the Broncos in, is even. And honestly, I'm not being biased at all. The Broncos defense is a lot better than the Texans defense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think they were in the top 10 last year. You have to check on that, Mohammed, because I'm not sure. But we know the Broncos defense was top 3 last year. There's only 2 defenses in the league that were better than us. One was the Chargers, which I hate to say, and I can't remember who the other one was. I think it was like the Steelers, maybe, or
the Eagles, I think.
I think it was the Eagles. Yeah, you're right. So Broncos have a better defense, better coach, better offensive line, better ownership. Like, give me a break. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the only team that I could say on that list of corners that are higher paid than Surtain could make the playoffs is Derek Stingley and the Texans. The Jets ain't winning shit. The Steelers ain't winning shit. And who was the last one? Off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was. God dang it, now I gotta look it up again. I believe it was the Panthers. Like, none of these teams are better than the Broncos. Yet we got the best corner in the league, and he's the 5th highest paid. I love it. That's the great thing about having an actual ownership that gives a damn and is willing to spend money, and a front office and a coach that knows what the hell they're doing. But let us know your stuff in the comments, guys. I got a comment here from Big E Bronco. He's like, 23rd. Wait, well, excuse me. QQ 23rd, who was the last defensive coordinator to win a Super Bowl that became a head coach. Is that supposed to be Belichick? I can't remember. Let's see. I'm trying to think. All the head coaches that have been in the Super Bowl for the past 3 years have all been offensive minds.
Yeah.
I don't think a defensive coach has made it to a Super Bowl since Bill Belichick.
Yep. I think he was the last one. You're right, Big E. Yeah.
I think so. Because let's see, last year was – who was it last year? Sirianni, Andy Reid's been in the Super Bowl every damn year. So on the AFC side, you could say for the past 5 years, it's been Andy Reid. And then there was Sirianni, Shanahan twice, Shanahan twice.
Shanahan didn't win.
Sean McVay, Zach Taylor. Those were all offensive-minded guys. Trying to think. I think. What was his name? The head coach of the Bucs during Tom Brady's last Super Bowl. Bruce Arians. He was offensive minded. That was 2020. That was 2020.
Like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
The last defensive minded head coach to make a Super Bowl and win it was Bill Belichick.
Yep.
Because it would have been 2018. McVay versus Belichick. The year after that,
it's going to be hard for a defensive coordinator to be a coach.
I don't know. If I remember right, I think the only defensive-minded head coach to even get close to a Super Bowl was Sean McDermott last year at the AFC Championship game with the Bills. That's the only defensive-minded head coach I could think of that got close. Didn't make it, but he got close. So, but yeah, man, it's weird. Like, the Broncos are going to be so good this year. Like, this is my thing. If I was a team, if I was an owner owning a team right now, and I had to rebuild it, like, I'm like, I got to hire a new head coach, new front office, I got to, so they can come in and rebuild this roster. I am strongly going offensive mind. Like, yes, Nathaniel Hackett was a disaster. Don't get me wrong, but think about it. Who was the head coaches that came out of that head coach class that we hired Nathaniel Hackett? Kevin O'Connell. Look what he's doing with the Vikings.
Yep.
Like, Hackett, it was a swing and a miss. You're taking a chance on a first-time head coach. Yes, I understand. But sometimes you're going to swing and miss. Sometimes you're going to swing and you're going to hit. That's just the way the nature of the beast is. But if I was an owner of a team, I'd be hiring only offensive-minded head coaches at this point in time because the league is so far towards the offensive side of the ball. The rules are all for the offensive side that defensive-minded head coach have no chance. The last head coach to make a Super Bowl and win. Actually, the last defensive head coach to even make a Super Bowl, not even to win it, just to make it, was Bill Belichick in 2018 when they did win. That was what? 2018? That was 7 years ago.
But, I think Dan Quinn has a pretty good chance because he's got a pretty good OC.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. You reminded me. The Commanders, Dan Quinn, next one. But they didn't make it to a Super Bowl. They got close, but they didn't make it. So, yeah, if I was an owner of a team, I'd be hiring offensive coaches, especially since the rules of the game has gone so far towards the offense. Like, dude, like to hire a defensive-minded head coach, you got to hope to God that defensive-minded guy hires an out-of-the-park OC. Out of the park. Because if your offense ain't scoring points, you ain't winning games. Look at the Steelers. Like, people can say, oh, well, the Steelers but they make the playoffs and they get stuck every year. They get eliminated in the first round. You know what? Mike Tomlin's been a head coach for what? 20 years almost? He's won a Super Bowl 20 years ago, almost. Well, they're similar to the Broncos. Yeah, the Broncos got eliminated in the first round, but guess what? We had a rookie quarterback in all that dead cap. What do you think the Broncos are going to do this year with an actual tight end one, RB one, Bo Nix in his second year with Sean Payton, and a better roster? They're going to go farther than the Steelers. They're not going to get eliminated in the first round. I guarantee you that. The Steelers, they might make it this year, which I don't think they will. I think they're going to go under 500 and finally have their first losing season. But even if they make the playoffs, they're going to get bounced in the first round. So, but that's all for us tonight, guys. Like, again, if you guys would please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. And again, training camp starts this week. Let's all get excited and get ready for it, man. Football season is back. Mohammed,
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just wanted to thank Big E for participating and being in the chat and all that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Big E. You've been a major supporter of the show since we started. We're going to be back next week, hopefully with some really exciting news since training camp starts this week. Like I said, the vets report on Tuesday. There's not a whole lot of open practice or media availability, I think, those days. But we're probably still going to get some news out of the Broncos training facility, what's going on. So we'll have a little bit more to talk about. The first open practice is next Friday. I tried to get tickets this year, but since they only allow 800 people this year, it's very limited. It was very hard to get tickets. So I will unfortunately not be out there this year to bring you guys my thoughts on what's going on. I'm just going on based on what other guys tell me. So, but we'll be back next week with some more stories. Mohammed, have a good week, man. I'll see you next week.
You too, Eddie. Take care.
See you guys.